Today I have for you the Darksaber Duel theory. And to get started with this theory, the first thing I want to ask is, what is the destiny of the Mandalorian, aka Din Djarin? Is it something grand, like to unite the Mandalorian people together, or is it something a little more small scale, like finding Baby Yoda's species? Well, in the past I have suggested that it could be finding Baby Yoda's parents, or at least his people. This could link the Mandalorian to Ahsoka and Sabine's story as they search for Ezra in the unknown regions, because that's probably where Yoda's species is located. But there's definitely a bit of a flaw when it comes to that thinking. You see, George Lucas wanted to keep Yoda's species completely a mystery, so it's certainly unlikely that Din Djarin would find some sort of homeworld to Baby Yoda's people. Don't get me wrong, it could be done some other way, perhaps some sort of meeting in space, where Din Djarin meets people of Baby Yoda's species and ends up handing them over to them. Again, that could come back to that theory of Din Djarin traveling into the unknown regions to find them. But that said, Star Wars is about family, so separating Din Djarin and the child, it doesn't make a lot of sense unless it's at the very end of the series. If Din Djarin's destiny isn't tracking down Baby Yoda's species, then what could it be? As I've mentioned in the past, Din could be the one to reunite the Mandalorians, since this is exactly what the Darksaber has been used for throughout Mandalorian history. It has been a symbol of unity, as we saw in Star Wars Rebels. Sabine Wren hands it over to bo-katan and she reunites the Mandalorian tribes, or I believe they're called clans at this point in history, and as far as we know, created a rebellion on Mandalore in Mandalorian space versus the Empire. But getting back on track here, how exactly does Din Djarin get the Darksaber? Well, of course he'd have to defeat Moff Gideon in single combat. That said, Din Djarin doesn't use a lightsaber, doesn't own a lightsaber, so how would he do that? And this is the most important part of the theory. Ahsoka Tano, who is rumored to be in season 2, many people are assuming her role is to be with Baby Yoda, and hey, that could totally be correct. That little guy definitely needs some guidance when it comes to using the Force. But what if she has an important role as a mentor with Din Djarin as well? Ahsoka could be the one to train Din Djarin with the lightsaber, and then ultimately in season 2, or hey, it could even be season 3, Din Djarin tracks down Moff Gideon and defeats him in single combat, gaining the symbol of unity within Mandalorian culture, the Darksaber. And then with the Darksaber, later seasons could easily be about him reuniting the Mandalorian tribes and bringing the Mandalorian people back to a former glory, which would make for an amazing story in my mind. However, there are some serious problems when it comes to this theory, and that is, why wouldn't Sabine Wren reunite the tribes, or say bo-katan? Well, the unfortunate thing is that both of those characters could no longer be with us at that point in the timeline, or perhaps they're just not interested in the job. So it falls on the Mandalorian Din Djarin to take the Darksaber and reunite the Mandalorian people. And you might be saying, well Mike, this is going to take a very small scale show and take it in a whole new direction and a much larger scale. And you'd absolutely be right, this is a big departure from say season 1 of The Mandalorian, but many trilogies and shows season to season, they do certainly have a wider scope. One of my favorite trilogies of all times, The Lord of the Rings, is a good example of this, where we just start with Frodo and a few friends, and then that story keeps on expanding to larger and larger scales as we go through the trilogy. But that all said, I'm very interested to hear what you think about this. Is The Mandalorian going to become grander in scale? Will Din Djarin duel Moff Gideon with a lightsaber? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.